Do skincare with us as we talk about what it was really like to be one of Jehovah's Witnesses as far as the schedule is concerned.
We're going to break down everything that we did. So me and Karen were talking about our schedule. We realized just how intense it was. We had to write down literally everything in a huge list just so we didn't forget all the hours of things we did, just not daily, weekly, monthly, all the time, how it ran our life pretty much.
And this is basically for anyone who's saying you can leave, you can get out. Being a witness isn't that bad. They don't control you. This is for all of those people. Let's get into it. So we're starting off strong. Daily text. This is something we were supposed to do every day. Personal study, also something we were supposed to do every day. And that was for me, separate for him, separate for our kids. Family worship. This is something that was supposed to happen at least once a week as a family. The topics would be on something maybe like Christmas, why we don't celebrate Christmas. Then we had the book study, which in later years, the book study was merged into the theocratic ministry school.
It used to be its own separate day. So at one point, Jehovah's Witnesses had 3 meetings a week that were about 2 hours each. One of those meetings, the book study, was actually at people's homes. So people that held these in their homes had to make sure their home was ready and clean every week to host about 15 to 20 people.
Yep. So then we had the theocratic ministry school. In the theocratic ministry school, people were assigned to give parts. So not only are you attending meetings, but you also are having to practice and get ready to participate and perform in front of everyone.
Brothers and sisters, everyone could have parts.
So not only are you doing all the studying and everything else, but you also are having to practice and do a literal play. Then you, every week, multiple times a week, you're having to get your kids ready. Now we have 2 girls. When they were young, you guys, we were never late for meetings. Our schedule was on point. Not necessarily a good thing. It's always good to have a schedule, but not to the degree of this. So I'm getting my kids ready multiple times a week. No help. He's at work. Doesn't get home until a few minutes before the meeting. We leave.
And I had to be at the meeting. When I'm at the meeting, I had to do my assignments and work, so I was not able to even help her with the children because I had so much going on at the meetings.
Then you have to practice with your kids for service for that upcoming service weekend, which was Saturday.
So at this point, we would have meetings like Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. You're going to practice service for the next morning for your children. So that means you prepare your presentation you're going to give in the morning.
Then you have studying the Watchtower. Most people do this as a family, but sometimes they do it on their own. This is on top of studying for your personal study for yourself. Doing your family worship study, this is entirely separate.
You're studying for the Watchtower that you're going to study again on Sunday.
At the meetings. Can you start to see how they really push shit into your mind over and over and over again? Then you have personal study with children who are considering baptism.
Which is a whole other level.
This was our oldest daughter. You were studying with our oldest daughter.
They have specific books that you would study at least an hour, couple hours with.
Yep. Then you have ministerial servant meetings. So on top of all of the meetings, on top of meeting for service, on top of preparing parts, then the men who are elders and ministerial servants have meetings regularly.
Or even if they just work on sound, you would have a meeting monthly at least.
Yes. Then you have pioneer meetings, which auxiliary pioneers are also able to go to. They will have food there, which somebody is preparing for them. It's all volunteers. All of this is stuff that we do with our time because we love Jehovah.
So a lot of that covered the week. Let's talk about the weekend when we jump into service, Saturday.
Yep, so service groups. Again, this was kind of like the book study group. A lot of people would host them in their home. They did have meetings at the Kingdom Hall, but not every service group could meet at the Kingdom Hall at once. So anybody who hosted a service group or a service meeting, their home is the same thing as a book study. They'd have to keep their home clean. They would provide water and candy for everybody. Just an added burden onto the very busy lives we already led.
And if you were a brother that had privileges, you more than likely were supposed to take out the service group. So before you met for the service group, you would spend either that morning or the night before preparing what to say to the group to prepare them for service.
Yep. And then we have Sunday, which is the public talk.
And the Watchtower.
And the Watchtower study. This is where you prepare your comments. Sunday is a big commenting day, even though technically people do it on Thursday too, but Sunday is definitely a big commenting day. So everybody has to prepare their comments. If you have kids, you have prepared your kids' comments the day before with them on Saturday. We cannot forget about the hall cleaning, hall maintenance, assembly hall cleaning, assembly hall maintenance that we had to fit in.
Into our schedule as well. So finally, we have just some random bonus things that you would end up doing. Like we talked about volunteering at assemblies. We would have assemblies like 3 times a year. They would be 2 to 3 days. Either you're going to be an attendant as a man working on the sound. A lot of the women would have to count money. They would be in clean. Everybody had responsibilities at the
I
assemblies.
cleaned the assembly halls every time I went. Me and the girls had a job every single assembly, which honestly, that part really
It's
wasn't.
okay.
That's understandable. You
it
know,
is.
when a group of people are meeting, you want to make sure that things stay clean. It was never the things that we were doing that was the issue. It was the amount of things that we were expected to do and
All the time.
expected to keep doing while running our lives, living as a married couple.
Trying to have children, trying to work.
Oh, we had children. We were just trying to make it work with this insane schedule. So for anybody out there who's saying, it's not that bad, they don't control you, they want every moment of your life taken up by Jehovah God, by the cult, by the religion. They want every waking moment to be filled with doing something for Jehovah. There are a lot of people who choose not to volunteer. They might have more peaceful lives, but they have the elders and the older sisters in the congregation constantly staying after them. When are you going to come help us clean at the hall? We sure miss your face. When are you going to host an assembly? I mean, when are you going to host a Bible study? When are you going to do this? When are you going to do this? Like, if you're strong enough to deal with that, then yeah, you could probably live as a witness and be totally fine and not be bothered. But for those of us who were constantly pressured by our families, by our friends to do more and more and more, it makes you lose your fucking mind. I went insane in that religion, literally.
We all did. So if you guys have any more questions, just let us know. We'll keep giving y'all the answers of everything we experience.
Love you guys.